What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. We have reached the end of 2018, and I'd like to take this time to share with you guys the fragrances that I wore in my collection the absolute most this year. All year. I've been tracking basically every single day like a nerd what I put on that day. If I put on 2 fragrances that day, I was keeping track. At the end, I tally things up and I see what I wore the most to what I wore the least. And so I've selected basically my top 10. There's a couple of ties, and there's even a couple of fragrances that I don't have anymore that are actually in this list, which you might find strange, but maybe I had them for a long time through the summer and then got rid of them months ago, but they still had a lot of wearings up to that point. So they made the list. Even though I don't have them anymore, I have scaled my collection down tremendously. I mean, tremendously. I have a short list of fragrances that I'm looking to get, fragrances that I really, really love, but I've been very, very picky in terms of what I pick up a full bottle of. And I think that's something that I really, really am proud of. I've kind of been shaving off the excess fat, really focusing on what I enjoy wearing. And this list reflects that, I think, to the best of my ability. So let's jump right into it. At number 10, this is the only decant on this list. I actually did not like this fragrance when I first received this decant, maybe a little over a year ago. I just didn't really get the hype about it. And there's a small amount of hype, I will say that. It wasn't like everyone was talking about this. But those who were talking about it were speaking very ravingly of it. And I just didn't get it. I smelled it, I'm like, I don't know. It smells okay, but it was hard for me to enjoy. But especially this past summer, which is kind of a strange time to start wearing it, but especially the fall, this past fall I was wearing this a lot. And I kind of burned through this 10 milliliter decant. And this is Royal Oud from the House of Creed. Man, I really, really enjoy this. It's so elegant. Not a whole lot of oud. I'm still wrapping my nose around oud. I do detect it a little bit in the background here, but not very much. Mainly get a lot of wood and spices, cedar wood, pink pepper. I think there's even galbanum in here. Really kind of a smooth, but kind of rich and dry, woody, spicy, a touch sweet fragrance. I really, really enjoy this. I might get a bottle at some point. I don't know yet, but I'm enjoying this decant for now. And that's number 10, Creed's Royal Oud. I wore this 8 times in 2018. So let's move on. Up next, we have a tie between 2 of my favorite fragrances, one of which I really, really have always loved. The other is a little bit newer to my collection, but you guys already know it. And that's going to be between La Nuit de l'Homme from Yves Saint Laurent, as well as Reflection Man from Amouage. La Nuit, beautiful fragrance for a night out in the fall and winter time, maybe even the spring if you can pull it off, with less sprays, rich but also kind of fresh bergamot, lavender, has that cardamom in there. You guys already know, a little bit of vetiver, I think. Really, really gorgeous scent, casual occasions in the nighttime. Reflection Man, kind of the opposite in a way. Perfect for formal occasions in the somewhat warm weather, even into the colder months, because it is a beast on my skin. You can see it has the magnetic cap, so it is the reformulated version, but I don't care what anybody says. Honestly, 2 sprays of this is too much for me. I go 1 spray, and that's about all I can handle, to be quite honest, because this stuff is so strong. Get a beautiful jasmine sandalwood, kind of creamy white floral, fresh, a little powdery, but not so much, but woody for sure. Very, very, very nice. So that's Reflection Man and La Nuit de l'Homme at number 9. And I wore both of these 9 times respectively in 2018. At number 8 is a fragrance that I don't have anymore. It is a relatively new release. It came out in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, I'll put that down here, but I think it came out in 2018 from the house of John VARVATOS. It is Artisan Pure. I wore this 10 times in the few months that I had it. I think I got it back maybe in the springtime, end of the spring. I had it through like midsummer time. I only had it a few months, but wore it a good amount, and I enjoy it, but I don't know, I just kind of fell out with it. This past summer was a long story. It was a rough time for me. It's actually the reason I had to get rid of a lot of my fragrances. That was one of the ones that went, but I did enjoy it for the time I wore it. beautiful, kind of a clementine, you know, citrusy, a little bit fresh and floral scent with some woods in it. Very, very nice, clean gentleman scent for the warm weather. It is on this list, even though I don't have it, but maybe I'll get it again one day, but maybe I won't. I haven't really missed it since it's been gone, to be honest. Anyway, that's John Varvatos Artisan Pure at number 8. At number 7, we actually had a 4-way tie for this spot, but I decided to only choose one of the 4. I don't remember all 4 of them. I know one of them I think was Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum, which I also do not have anymore. And I don't remember the other 2, but the one that won out of the 4 was this one, ACQUA de Parma, FICO di Amalfi. And I've really enjoyed this the more that I've had it. I think I said before, oh man, this is so nice. It's kind of watery, reminds me of the ocean, but definitely juicy, fruity fig, has some citrus in there, maybe some spice in there. So nice for the spring and summertime. I really enjoy this stuff. I chose this as the winner because it's the only one of the 4 fragrances it tied with that I actually still have. The other ones I don't have anymore. And I plan to give this one some more love over the course of next year. And I did wear FICO di Amalfi 11 times, so it only beat out the previous tie, previous pair of fragrances by 1 wear. But still a great fragrance if you haven't checked it out. That's FICO di Amalfi from ACQUA de Parma. This is their Blue Mediterranean collection. At number 6 is another tie, but I only have one of the fragrances of the tie. I wore both of these fragrances 13 times respectively this year. One of them is one of my favorites of all time, and that happens to be the one I have. The other one I do enjoy. I kind of regret selling it in a way. I kind of convinced myself that I didn't like it all that much anymore. But in remembering my scent memories about it, I kind of regret it. Maybe I'll try to pick it up later on. That one was Creed Viking, which actually topped my spring niche list of this year. I still really enjoyed it, but it was kind of a weird time for me. I ended up having to get out of the collection because I needed the funds, but maybe I'll pick it up later on. The one that it tied with was this guy. You've seen this on my channel. This is one of my favorites of all time, John Varvatos Vintage. Such an elegant scent from the house. I have a review on this fragrance, and I'm going to leave that up here. Make sure you check that out. That's all I'm going to say. John Varvatos Vintage tied with Creed Viking at number 6. At number 5, this is another fragrance that I also do not have in my collection anymore. Actually, I wore it 14 times, so it barely beat out Creed Viking and John Varvatos Vintage, but still a really nice scent. It topped my designer spring list of this year. It's an undeniably gentleman's classic, Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. I don't know, again, came at a weird time. I wasn't loving it, and you know, again, I needed some resources, so I ended up moving it out of the collection. Maybe I'll get it back because I had the Eau de Toilette, got rid of that, got the Eau de Parfum, got rid of that. Checked out the Parfum, but not on skin. Maybe I'll revisit that one. But anyway, that genre of fragrances, I was kind of getting away from it because it was a little bit generic for me, but I might check it out one more time. Either way, number 5 is Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. Let's move on. All right, at the number 4 spot, a classic from the house of Creed. Definitely something that I've been enjoying more, especially over the past summer when I wore it quite a bit. I wore this one 15 times, so you can see everything is very incremental here in terms of the wearings, but barely beat out the previous one, Bleu de Chanel, but 15 times with this one in a pretty short period of time. I think I've only had this a year or so. And this is MILLESIME IMPERIALE. This topped my summer list this year for 2018. That was the last list I made before I took my break. Great scent for the summer, for casual and formal occasions. A lot has been said already about it. If you have not checked it out, please go sniff this one. Fresh, sweet, fruity, salty, a little musky, actually quite a bit musky with the ambergris. I love this one. And the number of wearings shows that. That's MILLESIME IMPERIALE at number 4. At number 3, yet another relatively new addition to my collection. I do have a review of this fragrance, and I recommend you check it out. We got ELYSIUM Parfum Cologne from ROJA Parfums. Check out the review up there if you have not. And this is such an easy to wear fragrance. So easy, in fact, that I wore this 19 times, so a little bit more than the other ones. You can wear this for any occasion, just running out the door, going to work, just sitting at home. Very versatile fragrance. I'm not gonna talk much more about it because the review goes more into depth, so I recommend you check that out. I love this scent. It's just so easy to wear. I think this is a winner. This is a banger from the house. Some people say it's a little bit generic or designery. Sure, it is, but it is high quality. At least to my nose, it gets the job done. It's fresh, easy to wear. It's gonna get compliments, but it does have some interest and depth to it if you really kind of dig your nose in there. That's ELYSIUM Parfum Cologne from ROJA Parfums at number 3. At number 2, we have a fragrance that I was actually surprised I wore this much. I don't remember wearing it that much, but apparently I wore this one 20 times, one more than ELYSIUM this year. And it's a fragrance that I really love, but again, I was like, man, I wore this 20 times? I don't remember. And I think it's been a while since I've worn it, but maybe that's why I didn't think I'd worn it this many times. It's a fragrance I have talked about, I haven't reviewed. Maybe I will at some point. Let me know down in the comments if you guys want a dedicated review on this fragrance. And this is At the Barbers from MAISON Margiela from the replica line. This is like your barbershop style aromatic fougere. This is a beautiful scent. I did feature this a little bit in that challenge I gave myself some months back about wearing one fragrance for an entire week. This was that fragrance, and that was difficult, but I think that would be difficult for any fragrance, even if you love it. This one is really nice. Again, if you guys want me to review it, let me know. Again, I wore this one 20 times. That's At the Barbers from Margiela. And that brings us to number 1. Sorry to disappoint. Creed AVENTUS wins again. Undefeated. If you didn't see my last video of most worn fragrances 2017, this guy won that one. And this guy tops this one as well. And by so much more this time. I don't remember how much I wore AVENTUS last year. I think it was in the 20s. I wore it 32 times this year. And I made a valiant effort from the beginning of the year. I was like, I'm not going to wear AVENTUS as much. So there'd be days where I would normally reach for it and I would force myself to reach for something else. And even in that effort, I still wore it the most by a huge margin, 32 times. And I haven't worn it in a while. It's probably been 2 months or so since I've worn AVENTUS, even though it's still one. And the DNA just works. It's a champion's DNA. It's beautiful and interesting for the frag head like myself and for you guys watching this probably, but it's still mass appealing for those who know nothing or care nothing about fragrances and the art of fragrances. I'm not going to say anything more about this because there's 1.5 billion reviews about it on YouTube, but you've heard me talk about it already as well. I love this. It's not just because of the hype. I love AVENTUS. I love AVENTUS. Did I say I love AVENTUS? This stuff is so good. And I'm making a dent in this bottle, as you can see, but I'm not worried about it. This is gonna last me at least the next few years to come. I have my friend A2 to thank for this fragrance in particular. You guys haven't heard me talk about him in a while, but he's the one who was generous enough to grace me with AVENTUS, and I have loved it ever since. As you can see, it topped my most worn list 2 years in a row. So good. I'm probably gonna wear this tomorrow because it deserves it. Anyway, that's my list. Top most worn 2018. Let me know what your top 3 most worn fragrances were for this year. Let's have a conversation about it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been a great year, even though I was gone for about half of it. I appreciate all the support, even while I was gone, all the messages and comments I was receiving. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you. I saw that we're well over 12,000 subscribers. I'm noticing, I'm seeing it, I'm like, wow, the channel's still growing even while I was taking a break. So thank you guys for sticking with me, for supporting me, for encouraging me. And I have a lot of great content coming your way. I have some great stuff in the works. I have another discovery video planned. In fact, 2 more discovery videos planned. I have more live first impressions videos planned. I have some more dedicated reviews planned. I have other fragrances that are in the pipeline that I'm planning to pick up, which will be seen on the channel. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up for 2019, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Have a blessed new year. Be safe. Peace. I'll see you guys on the next